So thank you so much, Inas, for joining me today. It's a great pleasure to have you on Karishma Connect. I'm so glad that we're able to do this, and I'm really looking forward to everything, all the insights that are coming in, I'm sure.
Thank you for the invite, and I look forward as well. It's an opportunity that I appreciate.
Thank you. Firstly, Inas, and this is something I do on my podcast all the time. I think nobody tells their journey better than themselves. So my first question to you is, tell me about your journey so far and why is it special? What makes it special to be where you are today?
That's a very difficult question, to be honest with you. I mean, you might assume that the best person to talk about the journey is the owner of the journey himself, but in reality, it's very difficult to kind of reflect on one's journey unless you're kind of stopping your day-to-day life and you're remembering all the incidents that you've lived and the opportunities that you've been exposed to. But my journey is remarkable, least to say, and I look at it from that angle mainly because of all the opportunities that I was, exposed to in terms of working for various industries. It's not very common that a person has the opportunity to move from one industry and the other and to work in international, let alone very prestigious national organizations. So that for me was one of the drivers as to why I see the journey thus far has been remarkable. And what truly kind of hits a chord with me is the fact that I met a lot of subject matter experts, and I've met the type that, the quiet type, the people that don't go around on LinkedIn or around in social platforms or even professional platforms, referring to all the achievements that they've done. Yeah. Those quiet type of subject matter experts, Karishma, have always been inspiring, especially when you're having those conversations over a cup of coffee after work, or, meeting them casually over weekends and talking about things they've lived. It's just mesmerizing, just hearing them. Getting to see what they've been through, how they overcame the challenges and learning from them. I mean, the journey can only be referred to as a remarkable one through the people that you meet in it. It's not through the achievements per se. So that for me was why it's been special. And I've always aspired growing up, getting to meet great minds. I've always been fixated on the minds of folks and what can I learn from them? What kind of knowledge can I grasp from them? How can I enhance myself? I mean, the schooling system is not the only source of enhancement. Work alone within the closed corridors and the project scopes are not the only source of growth and opportunities. It's the people that you deal with, what you learn from them, technical level, on a social level. Soft skills, as we always refer to, we love to refer to the word soft skills, even though nobody knows how to define it. But that for me made it so special.
Absolutely. And tell me something about what you do, because I do know when we spoke, there's a lot of detail into what, so I don't want to take away that detail. So for the audience, and in a way, what I usually ask on the podcast is, if you were to explain what you do to a 5-year-old, how would you explain it?
That's a very nice way of putting it, to be honest. So if I'm going to explain this to a 5-year-old, I will say, I take great ideas of others and make them a reality. And I take a toy that is not working and make it work. That's for a 5-year-old. As for your audience of professionals and, aspiring graduates and those probably, entering into the workforce, I would say, I've had the opportunity over the past 15, probably 20 years to work in project management, and let alone delivery, something that not everybody understands. So delivery is probably like a co-ownership of the execution of a project. So you are accountable in a way or another to make it happen, to be a reality, and to make sure that you're achieving all what it was supposed to be achieving at the end of the tunnel. So that's what I do for a living, and that's my expertise over the past years.
And what are the challenges? Because it's not something that is commonly pursued by anybody. How did you kind of, land up? I mean, what kind of encouraged you to? What are the challenges and opportunities that this kind of role has brought into your life? Being a project delivery person.
So growing up, I've always been with my father, who happens to be, started his career in the urban planning arena and then had his own contracting company. And growing up, visiting the sites at in the evenings and seeing what once upon a time in his office was a blueprint, and then all of a sudden it became a reality, instilled that mindset of delivery, that if you take something on, you should be able to deliver it, and see the smile of the owner, or see the smile of the person who has kind of trusted you on it and commissioned you to do it.
Yeah.
So that is growing up. Now, I'm an optimist. So I always look at the opportunities first, because I mean, if you're not an optimist, I think life would be very dull. But
Absolutely agree.
so during my kind of years of project management, mega projects were a challenge. I mean, you're talking about complex scopes that keep on changing. Still, I mean, it sharpened the technical and negotiation skills. That's how I look at it from an optimistic point of view. But then in the same time, you're dealing with internal and external stakeholders, people that you might have never, ever imagined to deal with. And that's a network of professionals that would have not been, attainable unless through those projects. And then the fact that the portfolio of the projects that I was kind of trusted on allowed me to manage end to end. So in reality, the skill sets that were acquired over the years allows me to, manage a business or an operator, whether in the manufacturing field or in healthcare or in any industry that I love, easily, because you know who should be doing what. And in an ideal situation, that owner needs to deliver 1, 2, 3. So connect the dots, and here's a seamless opportunity of operation. But you touched on a very, very critical point, which is with every, project comes a challenge. And I've noticed one common challenge, Karishma, which is, we work in a market that's pretty much a melting pot of cultures, backgrounds, and mindsets. And the one common thing that I always had, or I've always been blessed with, which is difficult stakeholders. So, when people say, well, I thought all stakeholders are difficult, not really. Some of them are very, enthusiastic, and some of them truly want to see something change, or truly want to see something built, or truly want to see something transformed. Others are just showstoppers. And, if I deep dive into that category of stakeholders within projects that I've led over the years, I would talk about those, that, they don't work within a team concept. It's all about me, 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 and the glory of me. Yeah. Others that are just, hungry of recognition, without actual tangible results that they're worth being recognized for, just to give an example. And the worst is probably, those that poach the credits of others, because, that's how they keep themselves going in a project, or remain within the role that they are entrusted with. Yeah. However, do I consider those as the true difficult stakeholders? From my point of view, no. I think worst are those that are there to size others, to size the doers within a team, and those that are driven by certain insecurities or their competitiveness that's not the positive type of competitiveness. Yeah. Those, for me, I try as much as I can in any project, or as a project lead historically, to eliminate them, to put them on the side, and to keep them busy so that they don't have a negative impact on the overarching spirit and culture of the project, so that we can see results. So that for me has always been the true challenge, but there's always learning opportunities out of those. There's a misconception out there, Karishma, is that, oh, he's a project manager, he tells others what to do. What do they really know? All that stuff. Yeah. Reality check. A lot of the project managers, and it's not optional, it's the reality of what the market is kind of dictating, is that they are technical people. They have to be technical people. They have to understand the scopes, the contracts, the drawings, the designs, the continuous improvement gurus, yeah, master black belts out there. Those are the new era of, the calibers of the project management. But the delivery element here is the fact that you will see in design sessions, or you will see in discussions, the project manager sitting next to the operations manager, let's just call them for the sake of the conversation, and they will be debating down to the nitty-gritty how a system should be designed, or how a workflow should be mapped, or how a space should be looked into or transformed, or how a value chain and supply chain needs to be looked into. So delivery is a combinational role of understanding the requirement from an end-to-end operational perspective, followed by the ability to articulate that in the right discussions, aka the technical discussions. And last but not least, keep an eye on making sure that it's delivered. Now, that brings, the ownership of project is no longer operations dictates and projects deliver. The COVID and the pandemic has made the middle circle, as we say, consider those two as two separate circles. The middle area that kind of overlaps both circles is truly the reality of what the market requires. However, you don't see them in books. You don't see them in discussions. We're realizing this is what's being discussed in professional settings, or speakers notes or talks or conferences, but that is the reality of what project management and delivery is. It's a combination of both worlds, which the books once upon a time did not touch on.
Yes, very true, very true. Both components are very, very important. Tell me, Ines, one thing you like about your approach to achieving growth, and one thing you wish you could change about it.
Growth, you know what? Growth is a word with, it's a very complicated word for a reason. Growth from the eyes of the beholder is sometimes associated with titles. Others see it as exposure, others see it as recognition, and others see it as money. And sometimes managers see it as a way to keep a good employee put in place and to retain them. I've always seen growth as a deep dive into a subject. I like to learn. I want to know more about something that I was, exposed to in a project. And then I realize with myself is that, whoa, I think I don't have what it takes in terms of technical capability to fully grasp that concept or to fully implement something. And I've realized that growth for me is about the additional acquisition of knowledge, regardless of what the knowledge and what type of knowledge in any arena. And for me, growth, now let's talk about the tactical aspect of it. Moving from one organization to the other has always been my route of growth. Mainly because when you're doing a job too good, it becomes very difficult for you to move, whether upwards or laterally, because who's going to fill your role? And it might be multiple roles, as a matter of fact. But I've realized that growth is not only growth from a monetary perspective or a title perspective. It's the days of my life that I'm investing in an organization. Am I investing it wisely? Am I learning something new? Am I adding to me as a person, me? In terms of my mind, in terms of do I relate to an organization, that I'm happy to be part of? But again, it's a very complicated word. I mean, that's just from my perception that people might see different. But mark my words, those people that probably are very good in persuasion, they're able to convince folks in power within an organization to grow them faster than others. I mean, life has taught me that over the years, they might grow very quickly, but they are the first to fall very quickly because they don't have the technical foundation, nor have they invested in themselves to build a team that allows them to remain within those growth roles, if you want to say. And what happens is that they've got the least loyalty to the organizations that they work in, and once they achieve that growth opportunity from their perception, of course, they will be the first looking elsewhere. So you don't see tangible results from them. You don't see delivery of meaningful things. It's just a stage or a bus stop in their careers. Growth for me is not that. Growth for me is that no matter where I go, I'm able to take what I've learned in an organization and invest it in another one. And for that, I feel good about it. I truly tag it or categorize it as a true growth. It might, for some people who are hearing us, consider that as being idealistic. Everybody deems growth from a different angle. Growth for me is not somebody promising growth. Growth for me is me working on myself and seeing myself grow mentally and technically. So that's for me what growth looks like.
What is that one life skill your job has taught you well?
Opportunity of learning. I mean, I'm a continuous improvement mind, and when I'm pushed into like a situation, or I even witness a situation or be part of it, there's always something to learn. Like every situation, every dialogue, every discussion.
Yeah.
Even when somebody's critiquing you in a conversation, there's always something behind, whether a good critique or a bad critique. There's always something to learn. But the one thing in particular is, I mean, all that glitters is not gold, that's for sure. That is something I used to hear for so many long years, and I never understood it except when certain projects made me realize that, and not to be in competition with anyone. I mean, you have a task and you have a duty and it's a job, and you get it done to the best of your capability. You're respectful, you're nice to have around, people miss you when you're gone. That's the true win. It's not a competition out there. And the most important is it instilled my jobs and my current job instilled in me business continuity is extremely essential for any organization. I mean, whether the pandemic and all the implications or the aftermath of what we're still living, as a matter of fact, is never rely on people, but on processes and a robust coverage system, just to keep the work going. Otherwise, you're people dependent, and can you guarantee that that person or these people are going to remain around you in the organization? So my job has taught me that business continuity is essential.
In those tough moments wherein you're stuck at a critical point in the project, or there is a hurdle coming your way, there's a challenge coming, do you ever have those moments where you are in doubt, and how do you deal with them then? How does a leader like you deal with them?
So managing project is all about keeping the peace in the house. And getting the results for what I call them as the true leaders in the organization, which are, it can be on all levels of senior management. However, corporate organizations in today's world are very fixated on defining scopes, and they're not very flexible around that.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they will be like investing efforts and defining scopes of a role that it has probably been the way it was 20 years ago. So they're not up to speed as to what the true actual on-site role demands and requires, because I don't think any of them has actually sat in that role for a while and observed it so that they would understand fully what it looks like from a scope. So much effort happens in organizations around scoping positions that are way far away from the reality. So what happens is, from a project lead perspective, you would want to remain within that scope that was defined for you. But the reality of the situations and the challenges are dictating on you is to, pick up yourself and, and take on extras, because if you don't do that, or you don't fill that gap, or you do not deliver against those specific activities, you're not going to be able to achieve the end result. And then, funny enough, from a co-accountability perspective, you're going to be blamed for not achieving it. It's a catch-22 situation. It's you're going to encounter people that have no idea what you do, but they have the voice to speak about what you do. You've got people so fixated on defining scopes, in reality, scopes that they don't understand. But at the end of the day, the work has to get done, and you need to be able to maneuver and fill the gaps and get by the day, and not assume that because somebody is in a particular role that they know exactly what's supposed to be done or what's supposed to be provided from their role. You just need to make sure that you reiterate over and over. And hence why I said, not all that glitters is gold, because you would assume somebody who has reached a specific position or role is fully aware of what a project requirement dictates, or fully aware of what every role within a task force in a project requires, and understands that the scopes they define are the scopes that are truly needed in real life, but the true reality and outcome is that's not the case. So you have to be flexible. That's one of the things as well that I've learned over the years. You have to sometimes bypass statements like, but no, we, all that, you know, people trying to tell you how it should be, but in reality, the real life situations dictates otherwise. And at the same time, give people the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Give them the benefit of the doubt. You never know the backgrounds or the level of experience that they truly have, or the level of knowledge that they truly have. It's just that we deal with individuals based on titles, but the background behind those titles are not necessarily what adds value to the project. So you have to be very emotionally intelligent and smart enough to put those and make the best of what you've got, I guess is the right statement.
This is an industry question. What makes the regional landscape different, and how do you think we as a region can evolve from your standing?
So I've been blessed to be part of so many industries, and the most recent one is probably my dream job for so long. However, our regional landscape has incredible opportunities for innovation. I mean, investments, change. We're located geographically in an awesome location.
The best place. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're close to everyone and everybody. The infrastructure is so strong. I mean, look around you, compared to the countries that we visit. Technological advancements, I am all pro technology, and we are equipped, we are ready to be pioneers in many industries and set the tone for the entire region, let alone the world. So I'm very optimistic, and I think we are attracting the right minds, and we have capabilities, whether, you know, in local capabilities or even expatriate capabilities within the region and the current landscape. So it's nothing but good. I mean,
very true. Absolutely agreed. And lastly, my last question to you would be, what is your mantra for choosing a project? First of all, is there a mantra at all? And even if there isn't, basically, what's your approach to choosing a particular project and making it a success? What makes you go for it? I know you said that sometimes it comes to you, you have to just make the best out of it. But even then, what makes you believe in it then in that case?
I'll be very honest with you, Karishma, there's no choice. So whether you're in an organization, you get mandated by the projects that are on your plate and in your portfolio. And experience has made me realize from day one of the dialogue, when it kicks off and we talk about projects, whether it's a small project, whether it's a transformation project or a change project or any sort of project, construction related, renovation, any project out there, I can sense that there's a probability of it being a success or not. And I make sure that I highlight that to the champion or the executive champions in the house. Does it come across nicely? Not necessarily, but you've done your role. And my mantra, you can say, is like, keep on trying, even if you end up failing. I mean, what's the harm? Yeah. That's always been my mindset, as long as I keep them informed. And with years of execution and in projects, not every executive champion is willing to listen to the difficulties. So always come with solutions in the house. Yeah. This is the problem, but here's the solution I've already implemented with the respective teams. And that will make them accepting whether a project is a yay or a nay, as you say.
Thank you so much. On that note, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed this. I did very much.